is with you constantly. When dreams are made and used and wasted, midnight, not a sound from the pavement.
She stunned the world with a voice that brought millions to tears, an overnight sensation who reminded us that dreams have no age limit. But then, Susan Boyle seemed to vanish from the spotlight. So, where did she go? What exactly happened behind the scenes of her sudden fame? Rumors have swirled for years, but now the truth is finally coming to light. From heartbreaking struggles to surprising triumphs, Susan's journey took a turn no one expected. If you think you know her story, you're only scratching the surface. Susan Boyle's surprise return. The internet went into a frenzy on April 1, 2025, when beloved star Susan made a dramatic return to social media after nearly 2 years of total silence. Her sudden post came out of the blue, catching fans completely off guard, and it wasn't just a casual hello. Susan used the moment to drop hints about something big that's coming, leaving her supporters both emotional and excited. "Guess what, everyone? Today's not just any ordinary day. It's my birthday," she wrote with a cheerful tone that fans instantly recognized and missed. "And I couldn't think of a better time to pop in and say hi, because I have something really exciting to tell you." With that single post, Susan broke her long silence and set off a wave of reactions across platforms. For almost 2 years, her social media pages had been quiet, with fans often wondering where she was, how she was doing, and if they would ever hear from her again. Some feared she had quietly retired from the spotlight. Others speculated she was working behind the scenes or simply taking time for herself. But no one expected her to return with such warmth, joy, and most importantly, a mysterious promise of something new. "I'm back," she declared with clear excitement. "And I've been working on some beautiful new projects that I truly can't wait to share with you." Though Susan didn't reveal much in her first post, the message was packed with emotion. It felt less like a celebrity update and more like a heartfelt letter from an old friend. She opened up about how much she had missed her fans and how deeply their continued love and support had meant to her during her time away. "I've missed you all more than you can imagine," she continued. "Your encouragement and love have kept me going, and I want you to know that. It means everything to me. I've never been more excited, more passionate, or more ready for what's next." She signed off with a familiar warmth. "More updates are coming very soon, I promise. But for now, I just wanted to say thank you and let you know I'm here again. Love always, Susan X." Within minutes, the post had gone viral. Hashtags like hashtag Susan is back, hashtag Happy Birthday Susan, and hashtag We Missed You Susan began trending across platforms. Fans flooded the comments with birthday wishes, messages of support, and joyful tears. Some shared stories of how Susan had inspired them, while others simply wrote how much they had longed to see her light up their feeds again. Many also speculated about what her upcoming projects could be. Was it a new album, a film, a memoir, tour? Could she be collaborating with other stars? With Susan, anything is possible, and part of the charm is never knowing exactly what to expect. What's clear, though, is that she's returning with renewed passion and a deep sense of purpose. This birthday surprise wasn't just about marking another year, it was about rebirth, reconnection, and relighting the spark between Susan and the people who've stood by her all these years. It was a reminder that no matter how much time passes, true fans remain, and a true artist always finds her way back to her audience. So, while we wait eagerly for Susan's next post or official announcement, one thing is certain: she's back, and she's bringing something special with her. Let's find out what happened to her while she was away. What happened to Susan Boyle? In the world of music and dreams, few stories are as touching and inspiring as that of Susan Boyle. Known for her breathtaking performance of I Dreamed a Dream on Britain's Got Talent back in 2009, Boyle captured hearts around the globe with her powerful voice and humble spirit. But her journey didn't stop there. Over the years, she has faced personal struggles, health challenges, and the pressures of fame, yet continues to rise above them with grace and grit. In 2022, Susan Boyle suffered a stroke, a life-changing event that had a significant impact on her ability to speak and sing. For a woman whose voice had become her greatest gift to the world, it was a painful and frightening experience. Boyle later opened up about the ordeal in June 2023, following her surprise return to the stage on Britain's Got Talent, the very show that had launched her into international stardom. The stroke, which she experienced in April 2022, affected more than just her physical health. It touched something deep inside her confidence, her sense of identity, and the very way she connected with the world. Yet instead of giving in to despair, Susan chose to fight back. She began a difficult road to recovery, one filled with therapy, persistence, and patience. She was determined to reclaim her voice and return to the place she loved most, the stage. In her usual honest and heartfelt way, Boyle turned to social media to share parts of her journey. She let her fans in on her struggles, her slow progress, and her unwavering hope. She didn't hide behind polished photos or rehearsed words. She showed the raw, real process of healing. Through it all, she made it clear she hadn't given up. Her message was simple but powerful. Setbacks don't define us, and dreams don't disappear when life gets hard. When she appeared on Britain's Got Talent again in 2023, it wasn't just a performance, it was a moment of triumph. Stepping onto that stage once more, after all she had been through, was like watching a full-circle miracle unfold. Her return was emotional for everyone, reminding viewers why they fell in love with her in the first place. She wasn't just a singer with a remarkable voice. She was a symbol of perseverance, of holding on to hope, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Despite her worldwide fame and the glitter of celebrity life, Susan Boyle remains deeply rooted in her humble beginnings. She still lives in the small Scottish town where she was born and raised. In fact, she lives in the very same house she grew up in, a modest, semi-detached home that once belonged to her parents. After achieving fame, she bought the house next door and combined the two. Not to show off wealth, but to create a bit more space and comfort in the place she still calls home. Her decision to stay close to her roots says a lot about the kind of person Susan Boyle is. In an industry where success often leads to flashier lifestyles, luxury mansions, and distant lives from one's past, Susan chose to remain true to herself. She didn't forget where she came from or let stardom change her completely. Her familiar surroundings, her close connection to her community, and her grounded way of life continue to be a source of strength for her. Susan Boyle's story is far from over. Her return to the stage after a stroke is not just a comeback, it's a message of courage. It's a reminder that healing takes time, but with faith, support, and self-belief, even the darkest moments can lead to light. Whether she's singing in front of millions or resting quietly at home, Susan continues to inspire, not just with her voice, but with her spirit. Stroke is not the only thing Susan is suffering from. Let's dig into the details of her journey with autism and how she and a few other celebrities have been coping with it. Susan Boyle's story and the rise of autism awareness. In 2009, the world watched in awe as an unassuming woman walked onto the stage of Britain's Got Talent. With her modest dress, shy smile, and quiet demeanor, no one expected what was coming. But then she sang. Susan Boyle's voice was breathtaking, powerful, and moving. It wasn't just her voice that stunned millions, it was her story, too. She instantly became a global sensation, reminding us all not to judge a book by its cover. Years later, Susan opened up in an emotional interview, revealing something deeply personal. She shared that she had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism spectrum disorder, ASD. For her, this diagnosis wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was a huge relief. For years, she had felt different and struggled to understand why. The label of Asperger's didn't limit her. It explained her. It helped her make sense of the way her mind worked, why she sometimes found social situations difficult, and why she often needed time alone. It gave her a clearer picture of who she truly was. More importantly, she hoped it would help people around her better understand her too. Susan Boyle is not alone. Other well-known figures have also stepped forward to talk about their experiences with autism spectrum disorder. Daryl Hannah, the talented actress known for her roles in Splash and Kill Bill, revealed that she had been diagnosed with autism as a child. She spoke about how overwhelming it was to be in the spotlight and how she often avoided interviews and red carpets, not because she didn't care, but because it was simply too much sensory overload for her to handle. Another familiar name, Dan Aykroyd, the comedic genius from Ghostbusters, also shared that he was diagnosed with Asperger's. He even credited some of his creativity and unique personality to the way his brain works differently. Instead of seeing his diagnosis as a setback, he embraced it as a part of what made him who he is. When celebrities like Susan Boyle, Daryl Hannah, and Dan Aykroyd share their stories, they do more than inspire fans. They shine a spotlight on something that many families live with every day but rarely talk about openly. For parents of children with Asperger's syndrome or other forms of autism, these stories offer hope and comfort. They send a powerful message. Your child is not broken. They're just wired differently. And being different isn't a bad thing. In fact, it can be a source of strength. These public figures show the world that people with ASD can dream big, succeed in their careers, and touch millions of lives. They remind us that brilliance and beauty come in many forms, that sometimes the quietest people have the loudest impact, and that, with the right understanding and support, children with autism can grow into adults who achieve incredible things. Parents watching these stories unfold feel encouraged. It's not just about fame, it's about visibility, awareness, and acceptance. When people see someone like Susan Boyle speak honestly about her diagnosis, it helps break down the stigma. It makes it easier for other children and adults with ASD to be accepted, understood, and supported. The world is slowly learning that autism isn't a flaw. It's just a different way of seeing and experiencing life. And thanks to brave voices in the public eye, that message is reaching more ears and hearts than ever before. As awareness grows, so does empathy. And with empathy comes a better, kinder world for children with autism and the families who love them. Susan grew up without thinking she could find herself where she is today, perhaps due to her struggles with ASD. Let's dive into the details of the audition that changed Susan's life, throwing her into the spotlight. The audition that shook the world. In April 2009, something truly unforgettable happened on the stage of Britain's Got Talent, a popular talent show watched by millions across the UK. That evening, a woman named Susan Boyle walked onto the stage during the auditions held in Glasgow, Scotland. She was 47 years old, dressed plainly, and carried herself with a gentle awkwardness. Hailing from the quiet little town of Blackburn in West Lothian, Scotland, she looked nothing like what people imagined when they thought of a star. As she introduced herself and made small talk with the judges, some audience members chuckled, while others raised their eyebrows or rolled their eyes. The room was filled with doubt. To many watching, she seemed like just another hopeful contestant who would likely be forgotten as soon as she walked off the stage. But then, she began to sing. With the first few notes of I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, the entire atmosphere changed in an instant. Her voice was not just good, it was stunning. Rich, powerful, and full of emotion, it wrapped around everyone in the theater. The same audience that had moments ago laughed now sat in total silence, mouths open in disbelief. Within seconds, the mood shifted from mockery to awe. People began to cheer, then rose to their feet in thunderous applause. Some clapped wildly, others wiped away tears. Even the famously hard-to-impress judge Simon Cowell looked genuinely shocked. Amanda Holden, another judge, was visibly emotional. What started off as an ordinary audition turned into a magical moment, one that would go down in television history. Though Susan didn't go on to win the competition, she came in second. What she did win was far more valuable: the hearts of people around the world. Almost immediately after her performance aired, it exploded online. The video of her audition was uploaded to YouTube, and within just a few days, it had been viewed over 100 million times, a staggering number, especially at that time. It quickly became one of the most watched videos on the internet, and Susan Boyle became a global sensation almost overnight. From living a quiet life in a tiny town and caring for her elderly mother, Susan found herself in the middle of a whirlwind. Suddenly, she was being interviewed by major television networks in the US, featured on magazine covers, and praised by celebrities who admired both her talent and her courage. Her story touched people deeply, not because she fit the usual mold of a superstar, but because she didn't. She was real, and her journey gave people hope. But the story didn't end there. Shortly after the show ended, Susan signed a record deal. Her debut album, I Dreamed a Dream, named after the song that had launched her into the spotlight, was released later that same year. It broke records, becoming the best-selling debut album in UK history. It also topped charts in several countries, as people around the world couldn't get enough of her voice or her inspiring story. Susan Boyle's rise to fame wasn't just about her extraordinary singing voice. It was about challenging the way the world sees success. It was about proving that talent has no age limit, and that beauty and brilliance can come from the most unexpected places. She reminded everyone that no dream is too old, and no voice too quiet to be heard. Her story also taught a powerful lesson. You don't need to wear designer clothes or be famous to matter. All you need is the courage to take that one brave step forward and show the world who you truly are. Even today, more than a decade later, people still talk about that moment when Susan Boyle sang her heart out on stage. It remains one of the most moving and surprising events ever seen on television. A moment that reminds us all never to judge a book by its cover. Let's dig into the humble beginnings of Susan Boyle. From humble beginnings to global stardom. On April 1, 1961, in the quiet Scottish town of Blackburn, West Lothian, a little girl named Susan Boyle was born, the youngest of 10 children in a large, loving, working-class family. Her father, Patrick, had once dug deep underground as a coal miner and bravely served his country in World War II. Her mother, Bridget, worked as a shorthand typist, carefully typing letters and documents with skill and precision. Their home wasn't fancy. It was a simple council house, but it overflowed with warmth, faith, and a strong sense of discipline. From an early age, Susan faced challenges that made her feel different from other children. She had learning difficulties, and these made school a tough experience. While some kids looked forward to class, Susan often dreaded it. Her classmates didn't understand her, and many were cruel. They gave her the painful nickname Susie Simple, mocking her struggles instead of offering kindness. Those words hurt deeply, but Susan carried something powerful inside her, a quiet strength, a resilience that would one day shine through. In the midst of loneliness and teasing, Susan discovered something magical: music. Singing became her secret escape, a way to express emotions she couldn't put into words. Her voice was more than just beautiful. It was healing. Her biggest cheerleader was her mother. Bridget saw what others didn't: a rare talent, a spark waiting to ignite. She encouraged Susan to sing at small community events and in the church choir. Though the crowds were small and local, those early performances lit a fire in Susan's heart. They gave her purpose and hope, even if she didn't fully understand and where it would lead. Then, in 2007, Susan's life changed forever. Her beloved mother passed away, leaving behind a deep emptiness. The woman who had always believed in her was gone. Susan was devastated. She withdrew into herself, unsure of how to move forward without the one person who had always stood by her. But in the darkness of her grief, she made a brave choice, one that would transform her life and astonish the world. In 2009, Susan, now in her late 40s, took a leap of faith and auditioned for Britain's Got Talent. She did it not for fame, but as a tribute to her mother. With shaky hands and a hopeful heart, she stepped onto the stage, an ordinary-looking woman with no glitter, no glamour, and no expectations. The audience and judges didn't quite know what to make of her. But then she sang. When Susan opened her mouth and sang, "I Dreamed a Dream" from Les Miserables, time seemed to pause. Her voice was rich, powerful, and full of raw emotion. The judges were stunned. The audience, moments earlier filled with doubt and whispers, erupted in applause. And within hours, her audition video was being shared across the globe. Susan Boyle had arrived, and the world couldn't get enough of her. But this wasn't just a viral moment. It was the beginning of a remarkable career. Susan went on to release a string of successful albums: The Gift in 2010, Someone to Watch Over Me in 2011, and Standing Ovation in 2012 showcased her incredible voice and emotional depth. With every song, she touched hearts, offering listeners comfort, inspiration, and something deeply real. In a few short years, Susan sold over 25 million albums around the world. From singing in a quiet church to topping international music charts, her journey is nothing short of breathtaking. She proved that talent doesn't need to come with flashy packaging and that it's never too late to be discovered. Susan Boyle's story isn't just about music. It's about hope. It's about rising above the noise of doubt, bullying, and fear to become exactly who you were meant to be. She reminded the world that beauty, talent, and greatness can be found in the most unexpected places, and that dreams don't come with an expiration date. In finding her voice, Susan gave a voice to millions of others, to anyone who's ever been laughed at, left behind, or told they weren't good enough. She didn't just sing, she soared, and in every note she carried with her the love of her mother and the strength to rewrite her own destiny. Let's take a dive into the personal struggles Susan faced behind the scene. Behind the curtain. Susan Boyle is a name that has touched millions around the world, not just because of her incredible singing voice, but because of the deeply human story behind her rise to fame. Many people know her as the Scottish singer who stunned the world on Britain's Got Talent with a voice so beautiful and pure, it left audiences speechless. But Susan's journey wasn't a straightforward one. Behind the applause and the bright lights lies a story full of challenges, quiet courage, and an inspiring determination to be herself, no matter what. For many years, Susan felt like she didn't quite fit in with those around her. Social situations were confusing and overwhelming. She struggled to learn new things quickly and found it hard to understand the world in the way others seemed to. These feelings of being different weighed heavily on her, though she didn't know why. It wasn't until 2013 that Susan received a diagnosis that changed everything: Asperger's syndrome, which is a part of the autism spectrum. Suddenly, the struggles she had carried silently all her life made sense. This new understanding gave her peace of mind and helped her see her differences not as weaknesses, but as a unique part of who she was. Getting this diagnosis was like finding the missing piece of a puzzle. It explained the confusion she had felt for years, and most importantly, it showed her that her challenges did not make her any less valuable or special. Instead, they were just part of her story, one that made her resilient and uniquely gifted. But Susan's life was not done testing her strength. In April 2022, she suffered a minor stroke. For someone whose career and identity were built around her voice, this was a terrifying moment. The stroke affected her ability to speak clearly and sing, two things that were absolutely central to who she was. Many people feared this might be the end of her career, wondering if she would ever sing on stage again. Yet Susan Boyle surprised everyone once again. Known for her quiet but steady strength, she refused to give up. With the support of skilled therapists and her own unshakable will, she began the slow process of recovery. It was not easy. Every day was a step forward, sometimes small, sometimes almost invisible. But Susan kept going, working tirelessly to regain her voice, her confidence, and the passion that made her shine. Then, in June 2023, she returned to the stage that had launched her to worldwide fame, Britain's Got Talent. This wasn't just a comeback performance, it was a powerful message to everyone watching. Susan's return was a celebration of hope and resilience. When she sang again, tears filled the eyes of fans and strangers alike. It was a moment that proved how far she had come, and how much strength there is in never giving up, no matter how hard life hits you. Recently, Susan shared a glimpse of her everyday life with her fans. On Instagram, she posted a bright and happy photo of herself enjoying a sunny barbecue. Dressed in casual clothes and wearing a glowing smile, she looked peaceful and full of life. The post quickly gathered thousands of messages from fans who were overjoyed to see her so well and so happy again. It wasn't just about the food or the sunshine, it was about the joy shining from a woman who had faced life's storms and come out the other side stronger and full of hope. Susan Boyle's story teaches us that success is about more than just fame, awards, or money. It's about how you face life's hard moments. It's about rising up after you fall. And most of all, it's about being true to yourself, no matter what others might think or say. In today's world, where people often try to look perfect and flawless, Susan reminds us that being different is a gift, that healing takes time and patience, that even after the darkest and most difficult nights, there is a chance to stand up again, to return to the stage with applause not just for your talent, but for your courage, your spirit, and your honesty. Susan Boyle, an unlikely star, has not ceased to touch lives positively, in her own way, not being disturbed by her struggles. Let's delve into the legacy she puts forth in the entertainment industry. The legacy of an unlikely star. Susan Boyle's story is a remarkable example of how never giving up and being true to yourself can lead to incredible success. Her journey wasn't easy. In fact, it began with moments of doubt, criticism, and even laughter from others who didn't believe in her. But Susan didn't let those negative voices stop her. Instead, she held on tightly to her dreams and quietly worked hard, proving that no matter what others say, it's never too late to chase what you truly want in life. Imagine standing in front of a huge audience, feeling nervous and unsure, while people judge you based on your appearance or background. That was Susan's reality before she became famous. Many people expected her to fail, but when she opened her mouth to sing, she surprised the world with a voice so pure and powerful that it touched the hearts of millions. In that moment, she showed everyone that true talent and passion can break through all barriers. Her story is not just about becoming famous, it's about hope and courage. Susan's rise from obscurity to worldwide recognition reminds us that dreams don't have an expiration date. Even if you feel like the world has already made up its mind about you, your future is still full of possibilities. What matters most is believing in yourself and staying authentic, being the person you were meant to be, without trying to fit into someone else's idea of success or beauty. Susan Boyle's journey teaches us many important lessons. It encourages us to keep pushing forward, even when the road gets tough and the world seems against us. It shows the power of embracing who we are, including our flaws and unique qualities, because that's where true strength lies. Her story is a shining example that with enough determination, genuine talent, and honesty, we can overcome obstacles that seem impossible at first. Every time we hear her sing, we're reminded of the beauty of perseverance. It's a gentle but powerful message that no matter your age, background, or how many times you've been told no, your dreams still matter. Susan Boyle has become a symbol of hope, inspiring people around the globe to believe that the impossible can become possible. In the end, her journey is far more than just a rise to fame. It's a lesson about human spirit and resilience. It urges us all to keep chasing our dreams, no matter what challenges we face. Susan Boyle's story is a light that continues to shine, encouraging us to embrace who we truly are and to never give up on the things that matter most in life. What do you think about Susan Boyle's struggles before and during the break? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.